I witnessed the man I loved being torn apart by wolves with my own eyes. My world shattered in that moment, but the instinct to survive drove me to flee, for myself and for my unborn child. One prologue. Run, Juliet, run. The sickening sound of flesh being torn apart filled the air. Wide hazel eyes watched in horror as the wolf tore apart the very man they had always looked at with every bit of love in her heart. The beast raised its blooded muzzle and snarled in Juliet's direction. With a shriek of terror, she instinctively turned to her heel, ignoring the stones bruising her bare feet, and broke into a run. She could hear the paws of wolves padding on the earth like the thud, thud, thud of a loud drum. The sound of her heart was echoing in her ears like a beat. Beat, beat. Don't look back. Don't look back. Don't look back. She looked back. 2 wolves were hot on her heels, snapping their blood-stained jaws at her. Her stomach throbbed with the effort of running. Her legs threatened to give up, but just then, 3 wolves appeared from the front, baring their teeth, and fell upon the others. Pained howls and snapping of bones filled her head, as if in a nightmare, tears streaming down her face. Juliet dashed forward. She ran and ran until she could no longer feel her feet, until sweat covered her like second skin, until she was only going on for her unborn child. In a distance, she saw light, high walls, the smell of other lycanthropes. Shelter. To my agent extraordinaire, wildest, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Stumbling. To my agent extraordinaire, wildest, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She reached the high iron fence that marked the pack's territory. Stop. A stern male voice barked, "Who are you? State your name and purpose." Juliet looked at the 2 tall males that approached her very quickly, even for werewolves. Her lips parted to say something, but her mind was blank, her soul shattering. Her energy crushed, and darkness was filling her vision, and she fainted. Several hours later, Juliet was holding a baby girl in her arms. Hazel eyes, so much like her own, gazed back at her. "Elijah would have loved you so much," she whispered softly, tears prickling her eyes. A knock on the door of the little room snapped her out of her thoughts. A woman in her late 20s came inside. "Juliet, Luna would like to see you," she said gently. "Come along." "Yes, let's go." Juliet nodded at the Omega lichen. They walked through the long, narrow passages of the Omega quarters to the wide and glamorous hallways of the Alpha and Luna's chambers. The guards let them in the meeting room where the Alpha and Luna sat. The Alpha was a big man with broad shoulders, a proud scar on his left cheek, and fierce brown eyes. The Luna was a fragile-looking woman, but her blue eyes were sharp as a hawk, piercing the shards of glass. "To my agent extraordinaire, wildest, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "Luna." Juliet dipped in a curtsy, "Mrs." "To my agent extraordinaire, wildest, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." The Alpha spoke. "We sent troops to your packed territory, but no one could survive the Rouge attack. No one but you and your daughter." Juliet nodded, feeling her chest constrict with pain. "Now we understand you need shelter." The Alpha continued, "And we would offer you a place here in the estate, as werewolves and lichens are not so different after all. That would be very kind of you. To my agent extraordinaire, wildest, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." Juliet replied meekly, "But," the Luna interjected, "you are not part of our pack. Hence, you can only stay as an Omega." Swallowing the lump in her throat, Isabella looked at her daughter's hazel eyes. With a deep breath, she made the choice any mother would have made. "I accept the conditions." After Juliet had been officially converted to an Omega by taking an oath and shaking her hand, which she had cut a bit to draw out blood, with the Alpha, who had done the same, she went out, clutching her baby. She hadn't taken more than a few steps when someone tugged at the hem of her dress. She whirled around. Her eyes landed, old boy, with his dark brown hair and deep blue eyes. It wouldn't take a genius to guess who he was. Who are you? Though his eyes were curious, his voice had been commanding. I will. Juliet struggled with her words in the new pack member. The boy nodded, craning his neck to look at the child in the woman's arms. Juliet lowered her arms to let him have a look. The boy smiled at the infant. Hello there. Emilu Quinters. He looked at Juliet, apparently to know the name of the child. Juliet blushed. She hadn't thought of it yet, but, looking down at her angle, a soft smile tugged her lips. Elise. She said Elise Atwood. Luke grinned and let the baby hold one of his fingers. Welcome home. Elise. Attack of the walnuts, Elise. I whirl around. My pin straight hair follows the movement. My eyes meet familiar blue ones. Hus. I mock, glare at my best friend. I'm doing something important. His lips tug upwards in the usual crooked grin, and he simply leans against the wall, watching me as I achieve greatness. Right. I take the catapult, grab a big walnut and take aim. 1, 2. Snap. A banshee-like scream meets my ears and I quickly duck behind the wall, choking on giggles. Who did this? A shrill voice demands who did this. A familiar deep chuckle reaches me from my side. What are you? A 6-year-old. His eyes shining with amusement. Just because I'm 19 doesn't mean I can't have fun. I grin at him. You wanna try? He considers it for a moment. Why the hell not? I give him a walnut and the catapult. We exchange a serious nod like the ones best friends do before stealing ice cream from the fridge. He takes aim, pulls the rubber back and snap. I'm going to kill you when I find you. Unable to hold myself back, I stumble away, clasping my hands on my mouth. Only when I'm out of earshot. Laughter bubbles past my lips and I can almost feel my face becoming red. Another laugh combines with mine and I realize I'm not the only one who ran. Goddess? You didn't see her face. He says, oh, don't worry. We always have next time. I say, grinning Carlos. Both of us jump at the stun voice. Soon enough, a tall man with pale blonde hair and grey eyes comes in my view. Bated rake. I and Carlos bow our heads. Beta looks at me for a second, his eyes holding the usual glint of disdain, then turns to my bestie. What are you doing here? He demands. All the pack warriors are supposed to be training right now. The training ended not 5 minutes ago. Beta, Carlos says, jumping to his serious voice. In fact, I was just here to tell the Omega to clean the weapons. Beta turns his harsh face to me again, then stops standing here like an idiot and get to it. He barks. I stare back into his grey eyes, defying lie. My muscles itch to bend my neck and submit. My eyes prickle with the effort of looking into his powerful ones, but I've practiced this for ages. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilgan, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Beta, I finally say and turn around to get as far from him as possible. Like father, like daughter. But it's not really Beta's fault. You see, ever since he found out that Darky, his daughter, is a nut job, he's been one himself. And what a pity I've never known him before his condition. As I pass through the hallways of our ridiculously big pack house, everyone considers my existence in their own unique way. Some give me the stink eye. Some quickly turn away. Some with looks of superiority. My wolf claws at my head to let her out. I roll my eyes as a bunch of pack warriors pass by me, smirking. Lichens. I shake my head. They think they're so amazing. I pass by the weapons room but don't bother checking. I cleaned everything just yesterday. So far, Carlos has been the only friend I have other than a few Omgazer. Heck, even some of the Omgazer look at me and Mom with dislike. But none of it bothers me as much as it did. Because my escape plan is simple. 1. Find my mate. 2. Convince him to take my mom with us to his pack. 3. Escape. For attain godly powers and destroy every lycanthrape with superiority complex and then take over the world. See, simple. I go outside the main pack house and towards the Omega quarters. On the outside of the little building, I see a familiar figure. Juliet. Darky barks. My fingers curl in fists as my mother hurries outside to receive the BTCH. Yes, Miss Parks. Mom asks politely. I want a foot massage. Right now, she says, flipping her long blonde hair. I watch as my mom swallows. See hesitation in her eyes and watch as her head moves in a nod. My blood boils. Wait. I quickly jog towards them. What is it, Alice? Darky snaps. Mom is needed to clean the weapons in the weapon room. Sorry she can't come with you. I say, trying my level best not to glare at her. Fine. Darky huffs. Then her eyes light up. Why don't you come with me then? My feet could use some proper tending. And it must be an honor for a werewolf omega to touch the feet of a lichen beta. My left eye twitches, but I glance at Mom. At her still pretty face. The light in her hazel eyes is so dull than what it used to be. Swallowing my pride and dignity, I nod. Darky flashes her pearly white teeth at me and turns around to go inside the pack house. I turn to Mom. No cleaning needed in the weapons room. Go and rest. Smiling at her. Elise. Sweetie. You shouldn't have. Mom says if Darky finds out. She wouldn't care. I wave a hand dismissively. She likes to piss me off whenever she can get the chance. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Hurry up, you lazy, good-for-nothing idiot. I better go. My lips curl in disgust. Nonetheless, I turn to follow her royal damas and quickly fall in step behind her. Took you long enough, she snaps. Maybe next time I can throw rotten eggs at her. Or if I can somehow get my hands on a used diaper. I can't believe how slow you days a walk. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. It's too much effort for the likes of her. I think I might just do it. Are you mute to something? Then again, you can't argue about it. Are there any babies in our pack? Ones that might have stomach problems? Darky leads me to her room. A pinky street. Furry's tea. Most sparkling room in the house. One I've been into many times. She lays down on the daybed and gestures at her shoes. Don't lose it. Do not lose it. I yank off her shoes, ignoring the smirk on her face. My fingers itch in resistance as I move them near her feet. My wolf claws at my head harder than usual, but I focus all my energy on my breaths. In undoubt. You know, Alice. Darky says as I try not to crush her feet, I'm very happy today. So happy that even your inferior presence isn't bothering me. You're too generous. It's like my birthday. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. And the full moon all in one. If I can just move my fingers a bit higher. Preferably to your throat. It might be like your funeral too. Because he's coming. She says excitedly, my love is coming back and find his mate or something. Now there's nothing separating us. Who's coming? Surprisingly, she smiles wider. It's creeping me out. Look, my Luke is coming back. Her words echo in my head. Luke is coming back. Oh no. 3 witches rattle me. New Quintus, the only son of Alpha JX and Linifay. The soon-to-be alpha of a pack. He's coming back. After 5 years. The sound of my heart pounding in my ears gets faster by the second, and Darky doesn't even realize I'm not massaging her feet anymore. No. I don't want to make a reunion feast. My hot, dashing, charming Luke. Darky claps her hands together, and finally he's going to come back without any mate. Which means one thing. Him and me. Yeah. Really amazing. Better find my mate before she becomes Luna. He's the most handsome man I've ever seen, you know. Darky says dreamily. Sometimes. Some very rare times. I feel kinda bad for Darky. The pathetic soul has no friends. I've only seen him like 3 times. I feel obligated to point out. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. The likes of you can't even look at him often. She smirks at me. No wonder she doesn't have friends. Now go. Shoo you. She says I have to get ready before he comes. It takes a lot of time. Not that you'll know. Thanking the goddess, I hurry out of her room and towards the Omega quarters again. It must be an uproar there. When I enter through the main door, the sound of chaos hits me hard. People are running around with decorations, folding invitation envelopes, making lists. Even in the crowd, I can easily make out a short, blonde woman with dark red hair shouting, "Stay calm, people." She says loudly, "Stay F King Kong." "Captain Morgan." I push through the rushing crowd. "Don't tell me." "Yup," she nods with a grin. "Smile, it's a code red." I attempt to pass out and fall, but someone grabs my elbow and pulls me straight. No time for fainting. Angelina, Morgan's daughter, with the same red hair and green eyes, says to me, "We have shopping to do." "Tell me that's not true," I say a bit dramatically. "It's not true," Angelina says. "Taking me with her now, come on. Goddess, save my ass." No, I can't. I lean against the wall. "Not another step. Elise, we have yet to buy all the dairy products," Angelina says, waving the list. "You're lichen. I'm a werewolf." I give her a look and I can't walk around with 8 huge bags in my arms in this blazing heat. She takes in consideration my sweaty and red face. Then sighed. "Fine. Let's put these things in the car and take a break." "'Kay," she says. My face lights up. Is there any other answer but yes? We make our way through the busy streets of Minneapolis and towards the car that the pack finally offered us to transfer this stuff in. "Back so soon?" Carlos, our willing driver, raises an eyebrow. "No such luck," I say as Angelina opens the back door and puts in her bags. I do the same. "We're going to do another shift after a quick break. You can take these back to the pack house." "Sure." He shrugs and the engine roars to life. I and Angelina quickly decide to jog to the forest near the pack house and take a run for Angelina, and a stroll for me. Before we come back, the earthy scent of the forest greets me. Walking deeper in the forest, I focus on the sound of my feet padding on the ground, the breeze ruffling the leaves, the scent of flowers and a human. I squint my eyes and let my nose guide me to the source of the scent. About 10 feet away, I see the humped figure of an old woman. Hello," I say, "and surely are you lost?" The woman turns around to face me. I falter in my steps. Blazing yellow eyes stare back at me. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "Not at all. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." She says I know this forest like the back of my hand. "Oh, to my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." Which is rattle me, I'll go then. So soon. Her bushy grey brows rise. Most lycanthropes are curious to know their future or find when they will meet their mate. You can tell me that. A note of excitement leaking in my voice. "What do you think?" She grins. Gold teeth flashing between yellow ones tell me when I'll find my mate. "Please," I say instantly, "show me the palm of your right." And she holds out a wrinkled, frail hand. I hesitate for a moment. She's a witch after all. She might be tricking me, but I hold out my hand to her. Her bony finger trails the map of lines on my palm. "Very interesting. Such a..." She mutters, toying with my hand. "You're going to meet him soon." "Soon when?" I furrow my eyebrows. "You will meet your mate after you fall in love." I stare at her blankly. "Most talking to you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." She turns around and starts walking fast. "Hey, wait," before my very eyes. She shifts into a raven and takes off. After you fall in love, confusion clouds my mind. A strange restlessness settles in my stomach. I shake my head and start walking back. They're all eccentric. After I fall in love. Please, my mate is going to be the only man I ever fall in love with. Taking fast steps, I go back to where I was supposed to meet Angelina, the parking lot of the supermarket. I look around the empty parking lot and then see familiar red hair. My eyebrows furrow at the scene. A man is standing close to her, caging her between himself and the wall. Taking a few steps forward, I catch a glimpse of Angelina's horrified face. My stomach twists into a tight knot. Half marching, half running, I go towards them and catch a throaty voice saying, "Why so afraid of me, baby?" The dog is saying all I'm asking is. I grab his arm and turned him around. I'm thinking, uncaring, on pure instinct. My hand raises and slap. I pull Angelina away from him. She clings to my arm, silent tears running down her face. "You bloody BTCH." The man hisses, his eyes on Angelina rather than me. "What are you staring at? You asshole." I give him a death glare. He turns his face to me. "You just wait until what is going on here." I freeze as the deep, powerful voice reaches my ears. Unfamiliar, yet oddly known. Out of their own volition, my eyes fly to the source of the sound. My breath hitches. "To my agent extraordinaire, wildest, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." Well-built figure walks up to us. A perfectly angular face, a jaw sharp enough to break rocks on it. Straight nose and a subtle tan on smooth skin. Dark, stormy blue eyes meet mine, and for one single moment I feel like, what is this? Solider. He asks the other man this female was attacking me, so he glares at me. Dark blue eyes turn to me, a hint of irritation evident in them. "To my agent extraordinaire, wildest, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." Maybe I look like I can kill someone right now, but there's no way this man would be a big enough jerk to apologize. I stare at him in amazement. Wow, he just broke all the records. No, I will not apologize. I snap. Eyes ablaze with anger. "Your soldier was her assing my friend." The newcomer's eyes go to the ghastly pale girl, trying to hide behind me. "Is that true?" He narrows his eyes at the asshole you're asking him. My voice portraying my anger. "Are you blind? Can't you see her face?" A low growl rumbles in his throat. His jaw tightens. Apparently, no one's ever talked to him like this. "Do not interrupt me while I'm talking." He throws a glance of supreme disapproval in our direction. Angelina whimpers a little. "I don't have time for such ridiculous arguments anyways." Ridiculous arguments? Should I slap him too? Your employee just did something completely immoral and you'll walk away like a man with no honor. Lighting flashes in his eyes and he takes a step forward. I register the power radiating from him. My muscles start itching, my eyes wanting to blink and look away, but I don't back down. "Do you know who I am?" Or rather demands. Of course I do. Much to his surprise, "You're a textbook jerk." I turned my face away, grab Angelina's arm and walk away, very aware of the piercing blue eyes staring at me until I'm out of sight. "You okay?" I ask Angelina. "When we're far enough, I'm fine." She mumbles, just a bit shaken. "Don't sweat it. Let's go back. Someone else can get the other things." I put my arm around her, hoping to be of some comfort. "You shouldn't have done what you did." Angelina says as we start walking, "Maybe those are guests or something. You might get in trouble." "Screw trouble." I say. "Men who can't respect women are dogs. And men who can't stand those men are bitches." A smile tugs at her lips. "You're crazy." I grin. "Crazy awesome." For truly ironic, after I leave Angelina with Morgan, I go to my own room. Entering the small perfect square place gives me an air of home. I go to my small dresser and catch a glimpse of my reflection. Pinned straight, honey brown hair reaches the middle of my back. Doe hazel eyes, a dainty nose, a heart-shaped face. A smile tugs at my pink lips. At least good looks aren't reserved for the higher ranks. I'd say I'm fairly cute. I go through my drawer and take out a small, brown notebook. My diary. Yeah, anyone who knows me won't believe I have one. But I do have this little product of tree death, and I like to call it the lil BTCH. I open an empty page and start writing. I wonder why people think that you need a reason to respect someone. I think you need a reason not to respect someone. Just the title of a living thing should be enough to respect each other. It's not our races, To my agent extraordinaire, wildest, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm, or looks that make us important to the world or define us. It's our actions that define us. I sometimes wonder if my mate will care that I'm an omega, if he will be disappointed. Well, if that happens, I sure as hell will be disappointed. Rather than love, I want respect. I demand respect. I want my life partner to let me stide him rather than behind him. I want him to acknowledge my existence and personality other than his mate or Elise. I'm not doing anything. I snap the cover shut. He's here. Sweetie, Mom says. Ignoring my statement, Luke is back. Oh my God. I say monotonously as I put my diary back. Woo. Don't be so dry. Mom takes my arm. Come on. At least have a look at him. He's the most handsome man I've ever seen. You know, Darky had said. Well, let's see what this Mr. Universe looks like. Mom and I enter the great hall built, besides the pack house for meetings or celebrations. The scent of at least 100 lichens, perfumes and food reaches my nose at once. The place is packed. A lot more people are here than I expected, probably because they invited guests from neighboring packs too. Look, they're on the stage. Mom says to me. I look ahead, above the sea of people. At the stage and my eyes widen. Dark, stormy blue eyes stare back at me, as if they've been looking for me this entire time. I swallow thickly. I'm screwed. Isn't he handsome? Mum asks me, yeah. To my agent extraordinaire, wildest, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I say mindlessly, attention please. Everyone. Alpha JX says. Everyone settles down. I quickly grab Mum's hand and go towards a few empty chairs. If they haven't noticed us, might as well attend our first ever pack announcement. I thank all of you for sharing our happiness, he says, and then puts a hand on his son's shoulder. My son, Luke, has come back after 5 years of training. Everyone claps. Mom nudges me and grudgingly, I clap too. As all of you know, he continues this year. We will be hosting the Alpha's Hunt. I encourage all of you to arrive at our Northern Manor House for the ceremony. Another round of applause, but this time heavy with tension. As for the rest of the night, please enjoy. The Alpha's what? I ask Mom. The Alpha's Hunt, dear, Mom says, looking a bit pale, in which all the Alphas participate to choose the Alpha Supreme of the continent. I turn my gaze to the stage again so they're all going to the Northern Manor. Yes, dear. Mom nods. The Alpha's family. Beta rake and beta female. Clara will stay here to manage the pack affairs. They take a few Omgazer with them to take care of the manor's work. You think Darky will go with them? I ask, hopefully. With the way she's holding on to Luke. Mom smiles grimly. I can guess she is. For some reason, I feel a tiny knot in my stomach, but I shrug it off. Good riddance. Who wants Luke here anyways? When we go back, all the young or new adult Omgazer are lining up. Where are they going? I ask Mom. Probably for the Alpha family to pick who will go with them. Mom says pick. We're not merchandise. I say angrily. Not at Mom. Mind you. But at the point. It's how it goes. Mom says grimly, Elise. Angelina waves at me from the queue. Come here. Quick. I take a step forward, but Mom grabs my hand. I look back with a raised eyebrow. I told Morgan you wouldn't be an option. Don't go in there. To my agent extraordinaire, wildest, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Mom says. I nod. I'll just listen to what Angelina wants to say. Be right back. Mom lets go of me and goes to the quarters. I go to Angelina. I'm doing to die of nervousness, she says, clenching my hands in her clammy ones. Chill. Lena. I roll my eyes. Wouldn't it be a pretty trip to the north? Yes, but... She bites her bottom lip. I'm not like you. I can't handle new situations like I was born to do that. I know I'm pretty legit, but this is taking it a bit too far. I rake my brain to come up with something to ease her nerves. An idea pops up in my head. I look back at the quarters and then at Angelina's nervous face. Fine. I'll walk with you until you're there, but I have to come back afterwards. Thank you. She squeezes my hands in gratitude. We reach the lounge of the pack house quickly. Alpha JX, Luna Faye, Darky, her older brother Casper, and the oh-so amazing Luke Quinters are sitting on the sofas. They look at the gaze as people would look at automobiles in a showroom. Dark blue eyes turn to me with the unmistakable superiority and haughtiness of a Lycan alpha. I frown a little. Excuse me. I turn around to go to my room, but a deep voice makes me stop in my tracks. Going to pack you things already? My muscles tense. Slowly, I turn around, very aware of everyone's eyes on me. Luke stares straight at me, his face blank. I'm not one of the gazer that are going. My tone formal. But you are an Omega, aren't you? He raises a dark brown eyebrow. I open my mouth to say something, but Alpha beats me to it. Luke, you should pick someone a little more obedient. He looks at me like I'm a bug under her shoe. Elise has always had a problem with discipline. Alpha is right. Just wanting to get away, I'm not the best choice. Dark, stormy blue eyes drill into my own and a shiver runs through my spine. I lower my head just for the sake of looking away, willing my heart to stop beating so fast. A moment later, my chin is caught between a callous thumb and finger and my face is jerked up. Luke looks over my face, turns it to one side, then the other, as if observing whether or not the product he wants fulfills his demands. For some reason, his behavior disappoints me. My hands close into fists when I meet his eyes again. I glare at him with every bit of fire in my soul. Luke stares right back at me, thoughtfully. He lets go of me. I refrain myself from stepping back. A werewolf Omega who's not obedient to Lycans. Luke says, I wonder why no one has taught you otherwise yet. With a derisive snort, I simply turn my face away. It's Darky who speaks. It's an excellent idea. Elise could learn a lot if Luke was in charge of her. I'm not some pet animal. You morons. I don't need to be tamed. I agree with Darky. Luna says. My heart drops to my stomach. Elise, you'll be going with us. I look up, ready to protest, but someone else steps into my line of sight, so all I can see is the amusement in dark blue eyes. Now we can go and pack your things. Luke says we leave tomorrow? At 5 in the morning. It's all downhill from here. What? Mom stares at me wide-eyed. Mom, calm down. I say it's not so bad, not that bad. She repeats, you'll be gone to an unknown place for the goddess knows how long with no one to save you. Shall you land yourself in trouble? Mom, I say calmly, I'll be okay. I can handle myself. And besides, a little adventure won't hurt. Mom lets out a shaky breath. I just need some time to myself. Go to sleep. You have to leave early in the morning. With that she walks out of the room, leaving me with a dull ache in my chest. Oh, mother dearest, why do you worry as such? Because you are all she has left. With a sigh, I collapse on my bed. Yes, I want to travel a bit. Yes, I want some excitement and adventure, but not at the expense of Mom's peace. With my mind made up, I go out of the Omega quarters and start for the main pack house. The dew-drenched grass bends under my feet. The cold night air makes me wish I'd put on a jacket. Thankful that my hair is covering my ears, I quickly reach the back door of the pack house, slipping inside since I knew it'd be unlocked. I rake my head. Luna and Darky would never help me. Alpha is probably not going to see me at this hour of the night and snap at me for sneaking in. I have no idea what Casper is like since he just came back with Luke. That only leaves me with one possible option. The moon knows where his room would be. How am I supposed to find him? Nevertheless, I march towards the stairs and soundlessly go up to the second floor. I wander along the hallway. If there are 5 rooms here, 1 for Darky, 1 for her brother Casper, 1 for the betas and 1 for the alphas, so that only leaves me with. I walk towards the room at the end of the hallway. The perfectly polished door shows me my reflection. I raise my hand to knock but then stop. What am I going to say? So hey there, I can't go with you. Why? Well, my mother is feeling worried for me. That sounds really professional, doesn't it? For 10 minutes I raise and drop my hand, thinking hard about what to do. I take a deep breath, raise my hand, ready to knock. The door opens. My hand freezes in mid-air. My eyes stare at someone's tan skin instead of the polished door. Luke stands in the door frame, his brown hair ruffled, dark blue eyes staring down at me with a tinge of irritation. Did I mention he's shirtless? He trushes to my face, and with no better option, I focus my eyes on his. You've been standing outside my door for the last 10 minutes. He says in a raspy voice, what do you want? Oh, I have to say something. I shudder. What are you saying? Don't let this shirtless male think you're an idiot. Then say it. His lips curl in a tired frown. He really does look tired, with the bags under his eyes. The weary look in them. He looks like he hasn't slept in ages. A low growl snaps me out of my thoughts. What? Do you? Luke narrows his eyes at me. I want a lot of things, like freedom from this godforsaken pack, and equal rights for Omgazer, and a good soulmate. Did I mention a puppy, and some dirty diapers to throw at Darky? I can't go with you. My voice comes out stronger than expected. 3 cheers for me. Why? Luke's eyes narrow to slits. Because I draw that because I'll cause trouble. I always do. I can't do a thing right. You should listen to your father. He was telling the truth when he said I can't obey anyone. Luke leans down so we're on eye level. The scent of pine trees and coffee waves over to me, making my stomach twists in a weirdly good-feeling knot. His narrow, dark, deep blue eyes stare into my wide hazel ones. I haven't slept peacefully in a long time, and when finally, today I fell asleep, you woke me up at this hour of the night to point out how bad of an omega you are. His warm breath fans my face. Yes. I grin sheepishly. You are going to the north with me. End of conversation. And he slams the door in my face. For a moment, I stand there like a gaping fish. I raise my hand, ready to knock and give him a piece of my mind when the door swings open again. I see you're still here. Luke growls. Just wanted to say good night. My own tongue betrays me. I quickly turn around and go to the Omega quarters. Seems like I'm going to the north. Take care of yourself. I hug Mom tightly. You too, dear, she says, hugging me back. Try to not get in trouble, Morgan says to me with a grin. Aye, Captain. I grin back. I'll miss you. Angelina says, and I'm so sorry you have to leave. It's all my fault. Hey, don't stress yourself. Putting a hand on her shoulder. Besides, a free trip to the north sounds pretty good to me. I wave at my family one more time before hurriedly going towards the garage. When I reach it, people are hurrying about. Pack warriors loading their things in one car. The higher ranks standing a bit away from them, muttering among each other. I notice that the Omgazer they picked are standing by their sides, heads bowed. With a sigh, I tighten my grip on the strap of my duffel bag and walk over to a certain alpha lichen. So where are we going? I ask Luke Pakistan. He replies, hands clasped behind his back. But that would be a 14-hour flight. I point out, be it lichens or werewolves, but lichens more so. They hate long flight. It makes the wolf grumpy and agitated, but very worth it. Luke says Marcog and Vales are known to be one of the most beautiful places in the world. A wave of excitement crashes over me. Suddenly this trip doesn't feel bad at all. I was wrong. It was bad. Ick. It was horrible. 14 hours in a damn plane. Then God knows how long in a car, and we still hadn't reached the place. We're here. The Omega driving our car. John, I think his name is, says to us, free dead Don. I jump out of the car as soon as it stops. The first thing I notice is the cold. The second that it's dark and I can't see anything. The third that there's a mansion on a brilliant landscape just in front of me. But keeping the second point in mind, I can't very well see. Oh well. Grinning like a maniac, duffel bag in hand, I hop over to Luke. He starts walking without acknowledging my presence, but I'm just so happy to be on my feet. I don't care. Own gazer, all of you will have a room attached with you in charge. Luna explains as we enter the grand hall of the house. Behave yourselves and serve with diligence. 2 staircases go up, one from either side of the hall, and Luke turns to the left one. I follow him behind quickly. We'd reached the middle when a banshee-like scream meets my ears. I cringe and then look at Darky just behind us. I need your help. Come to my room. She quickly reaches us and gives me a look of pure authority. But you have Flora with you. I nod towards the omega female behind her. Oh, I do. Darky grins at me, but I need you right now. I look at Luke. Eyebrows furrowed. Darky turns to him as well, batting her eyelashes. She warps herself around his arm. Luke, darling, you won't mind, would you? She purrs. Luke stares at her for a moment, his face one of pure indifference. Fine, but be quick. He smoothly moves his hand away from Darky. I give him an unbelievable look. He merely shrugs and continues going up the stairs. Hurry up, Alice. Or Elise. Or whatever your name is. Darky snaps. I hold back a growl and follow her to her room. It's almost identical to her room back in the pack house. They must have been here before. Now she grins at me. A spark of evil lighting up her eyes. Let's have a little fun. Sometimes, in your life, you have to be the strong one. Sometimes, life throws you in unexpected situations where others might lose their mind, but you have to go on. You have to remind yourself that you're better than this. Stronger than this. Do it properly. A familiar voice snaps. With a deep breath, I somehow manage to keep my hands on Darky's feet rather than her neck. Be strong, Elise. You can get through this. Not only did she make me clean her room, arrange her wardrobe, brush her hair which somehow kept being pulled and put it in a braid, put a face mask on her, but she also wanted a foot massage. Oh, this is better. She sighs in content. The door opens. I don't bother looking up and get myself more humiliated than I already am. What is going on here? Darky jumps. The cucumbers on her eyes fall down. I whip my head towards the door to see Luke glaring at the scene in front of him. You see, you startled me. Darky says you see. I was just letting Alice give me a foot mass. Get up. Luke growls slowly, his eyes focused on me. I quickly stand up from my crouched position and grab my duffel bag from the corner. To my room. Right now. I hurriedly pass by him and go out the door and to the one just to its right since I'd seen Luke going there. I enter the big, square room. There's a king-size bed in the middle. A big window on the east wall. A study desk near the bed, and the whole place is predominantly white. I see a door at the west wall of my room. Before I could go call a Aspie on my bed and thank my lucky stars, someone else comes inside and slams the door shut behind. I jump and turn around. Dark, stormy blue eyes glare at me. What the hell? What did I do? I brought you here to work for me. No one else. Understood? Luke says, barely controlled anger evident in his voice. Really? Weren't you the one who sent me with her? But instead of telling him so, I take in consideration the look on his face and do otherwise. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, mark your calendars. This is a moment to remember. Well, he does look like he might bite my head off. You can't blame me for being cautious. Good. His face still as angry as before. Now go and get some sleep. We have some hectic days ahead. 6 blackmailing is my pastime. Wake up. 5 more minutes. Enthusiasm. Marmamble and bury my face in the pillows. Get up. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I'm not Hazel. Let me sleep. I swat away the hand shaking my shoulder. Get up right now or I'm going to throw a bucket of water at you. An angry voice commands. My eyes snap open, and the first thing they focus on are 2 orbs of deep, dark blue glaring at me. A scream escapes my mouth and instinctively my hand goes up, but Luke catches my wrist in his hand before my palm could meet his face. Have you, he says slowly, jaw clenched tight, lost your mind? You startled me, I say as he drops my wrist and steps back. Luke straightens and folds his arms behind his back, looking down at me with supreme disappointment. So, Why the hell did you wake me up? Stretching my arms over my head. We're going for a run. My eyes go round with shock. We meaning you and I. Nuke says. His face serious. Hurry up. We've wasted enough time already. But, you're like an alpha. I say you're going to complete a round of the plant before I can say breakfast. I'm like an alpha. Am I? I nod. Well. You forgot to mention that I'm your alpha. That's an order. Get up now. Luke goes out of the room and I fall back on the mattress with a groan of frustration. After a quick shower, I don't bother drying my hair and put it in a ponytail before rushing out of my room into Luke's. We go out of the mansion instantly. A cold shudder passes through me. The sun is barely up. We will take 3 rounds of the 10 miles surrounding the mansion. Luke says to me it should take about 20 minutes. Fine. I say, let's shift. Luke turns to me and raises an eyebrow. Who said we will shift? 10 miles. 3 times in 20 minutes without shifting. I stare at him with wide eyes. That's impossible. I mean, yeah, I'm a werewolf with supernatural speed, but that doesn't mean I'm a machine. And at 6 in the morning, and without breakfast. I'm telling you, it's madness. And then I suddenly feel my mouth movement being restricted due to something warm pressing against my lips. Shut up. Luke's warm breath hits my face. His finger still pressed to my lips. Who am I? Alpha Luke Quintes. Moving my lips with difficulty. The man has strong fingers, I'm telling you. And, as your alpha, I say what we do. His voice is hushed by silence. Understood. Yes, alpha. I whisper. What are we going to do? Deep blue eyes bore into my own. I can feel the heat radiating from him. Run without shifting. He stares at me for a moment. With the haughty superiority and authority of an alpha male. Then. Good. 1 questions. I ask. He nods. Why are we whispering? His finger drops from my mouth. Face slack for 1 moment. I grin at him. Let's get to work. Tell my mother that it was me who. But chocolate, I scream. In the night. I huff as I crawl after Luke and I want to be buried. Away from this godforsaken pack. Get up. Luke crosses his arms across his well-built chest and looks down at my sweaty state. I am not really crawling. I'm just walking very slowly. I can't. I huff out. Luke stares at me for a moment and then turns towards the mansion that seems tiny from here. Where are you going? I call after him. He turns around and gives me a passive look. I have no time to waste on pathetic little ungazer. Anger surges through me like a high tide, crushing away my tiredness. Gritting my teeth, I straighten myself and jog over to him only to pass him and go towards the mansion. What are you waiting for? I call back. We need to go back. Finally, with a ward-worthy effort, I reach my room, or just Luke's room, and call Aspie on the bed. Luke walks in, as fresh as a cucumber and as cool as a peppermint. He spares me a glance before going to the closet, not bothered in the least that I'm on his bed. I have a question. I say to him, to seem to have a lot of those. Why didn't you shift? I see the muscles of his back tighten just slightly. His posture becomes stiff. I notice that change in the room's atmosphere. Maybe that wasn't the best question. That is not your problem. Withheld anger clear in his voice, anger issues alert. I swallow inaudibly. I know what happens when alphas lose their heads. Yes, sir. Go and get me breakfast. Luke says eggs, bacon and a mug of black coffee. Don't take long. But he pins me with a death glare. I clamp my lips shut and narrow my eyes at him. With a huff, I get off the bed, but my legs wobble under me, and I fall face first on the carpeted floor. Down, I mumble as I rub my nose. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Luke takes my small hand in his. Funny our hands fit together just right. I don't want you to immobilize yourself and complain that you can't work. Grumbling to myself, I go down in the kitchen where a few other ongays are cooking as well. One of the perks of being an omega, you learn how to cook fast. Crash. Another. A male omega. Probably someone's mate. Glares at me. His Italian accent flaring. You broke another plate. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Hurriedly picking up the pieces, it just happens. No, no, no. He says not another damage. You understand. No promises. I say sheepishly as I put Luke's breakfast in a tray, grab the coffee and hurriedly get out. Well, just because I can cook doesn't mean it doesn't come with a price. When I enter the room, I almost drop the tray. You took your time. Luke says, not looking at me as he picks up a black dress shirt. Are you just going to keep standing there? Put it on the table. I give my head a brief shake and avoid looking at the shameless elf buttoning up his shirt in front of me. Seriously, what would he do if I start changing clothes in front of him? I glance at Luke, now dressed in a dress shirt, dark slacks and an office jacket, looking through a folder, eyebrows pulled together. He'll tell me to hurry up and not waste time. I scowl at the thought but go back outside. Wait. A deep voice calls me back. I turn around to see Luke holding out a thin piece of cloth to me. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I hold it up. Then realization hits me. You want me to do your tie? Luke raises an eyebrow, eyes gleaming with challenge. Is that a problem? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Not at all, sir. I grit out hesitantly. I take a step closer to him and reach up to put the tie around his neck. Goddess, he's almost as tall as a camel. I have to stand on my toes to reach him. Can't you just bend down a little? I finally say, alphas don't bow to anyone. Can I choke him with this tie? I give him a hard look. He returns in with 10 times intensity. Fine. I grab him by the collar and more out of shock than force. Luke stumbles towards me. I stand up on the bed and look down at him with a sweet smile. This is much better. I quickly do his tie, avoiding looking into his stormy blue eyes, following my every movement. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I say happily. I step off the bed and grin at Luke. He simply goes over to the breakfast tray and picks up his coffee. Another pack is coming in the afternoon. He tells me casually dress appropriately. Why? I ask with an arched eyebrow when I receive them. You're going to be with me? His dark blue eyes threatening to see through me. I look down at my jogging gear. Though I couldn't give a damn about what anyone would think of my dressing. Dressing, good wouldn't be so bad. I simply nod and go to my room. I look through my bag and pull out a cream-colored top, a fluffy white skirt, and quickly get dressed. I fix my hair and let it down. And done. Now what should I have for my own breakfast? As I go down the stairs, I catch a familiar scent. I halt in my steps. My eyes dart around and on a man in warrior uniform and brown hair. He seems to notice me too and looks up. Blue eyes meet my own, and the next thing I know, I'm racing down the stairs into my bestie's arms. Carlos. Warping both arms around him tightly on my moon. What are you doing here? Same goes for you. He says but hugs me back just as tightly on second thought. Never mind. I'm just happy to see you. So am I, brother. I grin as I pull away anyways. I didn't see you before. The pack warriors are staying at another house just a few meters away. He says, who did you come with? I wave at him dismissively. Doesn't matter. But what matters is whether or not you take me sightseeing. Carlos puts on a thinking expression. I don't know. I clasp my hands together under my chin and give him the best puppy eyes I can muster. He throws his hands up in the air. Goddess, you're such a blackmailer. Blackmailing is my pastime. I wink and grab his arm, dragging him outside. When Luke said the trip would be worth it, he wasn't kidding. After going around for hours and hours, from one rippling stream to the next grassy land slope, from one majestic hill with little adorable houses to the next, a loud rumble interrupts us. Damn, I feel like my stomach is eating itself. I slump against Carlos. Come on, let's get you some breakfast. He puts his arm around my shoulders and takes me to a little tea shop at the bank of a stream. As I devour my food, Carlos tells me about this alpha's hunt. So I swallow my food they send us from each pack on an 8-week journey through an enchanted forest. Carlos nods. Shifting is forbidden. They put a spell on them to make sure of that. And all you get is one map of the forest. Sounds simple enough. I shrug anyways. What time is it? Almost 4 p.m. Why, he asks. I stop eating. A deep voice rings in my ears. Would I receive them? You're going to be with me. Oh my moon. The guests. I get up. We need to go back. Right now. What happened? Carlos says as he puts the bill on the table and stands up. Shit. Me deep shit. I say as I grab his arm and start running in the direction of the pack house. When we reach the mansion, I see cars lining up in front of the gates. Crap. 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 Isn't there another way inside? I ask Carlos. Come on. He grabs my hand and races towards the back side of the mansion. The kitchen back door. He nods towards it. Thank you. I hug him tightly once and then bolt inside. From the kitchen, I peek outside and see Alpha, Luna and Luke there along with the rest of our crew. Strange. A few more members of our pack are here. When did they come? As if sensing my presence. Dark, stormy blue eyes turn my way. Taking a deep breath, I walk over to Luke and stand to them just as the guests start coming. Luke leans towards me and whispers, we are going to talk about this. I gulp in over him an apologetic smile. He doesn't look happy. Alpha Ethan. Alpha JX clasps the hand of a young man with brilliant blonde hair and blue eyes. It's a pleasure to meet you again. The pleasure is all mine. So Alpha Ethan nods with a bright smile. Then he turns to Luke with the same polite smile, but Luke's expressions don't change. Talk about being rude. Oh, Luke. Serious as ever. Alpha Ethan shakes Luke's hand. Then his eyes swim to me and I give him a smile. Good afternoon. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilbel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I stick out my hand for him to shake. It's an honor to meet you. He raises an eyebrow, eyes dancing with a strange sort of amusement. Suddenly the room feels thick with tension. All my pack members, Gazer and others combined, along with Alpha Ethan's pack, stare at me. Mum's voice floats to my head. Remember, Elise, when you greet a higher rank, you bow your head and greet them. Don't look them in the eyes. A gasp leaves my mouth and I instantly bow as, sorry. A small chuckle reaches me and I straighten myself. And who might the lovely lady be? Alpha Ethan takes my hand in his and brushes a kiss to my knuckles. Luke's hand comes down on my shoulder with more than necessary force and pulls me back a little. This is Elise. He looks at me instead of Alpha Ethan, and I realize this is the first time he said my name. A strange warmth blossoms in my chest, leaving me slightly breathless. What is happening to me? She's my assistant for the time being. Luke says, turning his stormy gaze to the blonde Alpha. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilbel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Then we will surely meet again. He smiles at me and I will look forward to it. 7 and a page job. The rest of the greetings went by in a blur. And after dinner I find myself standing in Luke's room, fiddling with my fingers. Why the hell do I feel like I owe him an explanation? I'm not his slave. Where were you? Luke stares at me from behind his desk, over his steep-legged fingers. I was just looking around. I shrug. You know. You said this valley is one of the most beautiful places in the world. All by yourself. He raises an eyebrow. Yes. I say, but it comes out like a question. Crap. In one moment, he's around his desk and in front of me. Damn, that supernatural like and speed. I stare at him wide-eyed. The scent of pine trees and coffee reaches me, making my head feel light. I can feel the raw power in his aura, the strength behind his dark blue irises, and it makes a shiver race down my spine. Luke narrows his eyes at me, then takes a deep breath. The storm in his eyes intensifies. Oh dear, who were you with? He asks. A friend of mine. Trying to stop my heart from beating its way out of my chest. Does this friend of yours have a name? Luke asks. He probably does, but that doesn't matter. I wave dismissively. Besides, I made it in time. Didn't I? Luke gives me a look and suddenly, my skin starts itching to submit, to lower my head and answer him. So he's using his alpha power now. Clenching my fists, I keep my eyes on his. If he's stubborn, then I am too. Besides, the moon knows what he'd do if he finds out one of the pack warriors has been going around doing nothing but keeping an Omega entertained. With narrowed eyes, Luke straightens himself. He walks back to his desk, leaving me to stare at his back in surprise and confusion. "That," I say unsurely. "Yes. You are excused." Luke picks up a paper, grabs a pen and starts writing something for now. With a confused nod, I turn around and go to my room, trying not to think too much of his mood swings. Wake up. Go to hell. I pull the blankets up to my head and for a few moments drift off the peaceful slumber when, eek, I jump 1 foot in the air when something rips away my blanket. My eyes fly up to someone's handsome face and I want nothing more than to slap it. "Morning jog. Remember," Luke says, tossing my blanket aside. "Why are you even taking me along?" I demand, using my hands to exaggerate. "I brought you here to discipline you." Already walking towards the door. "You have 10 minutes to get ready if you don't want to jog in that." I glance down at my fuzzy pajamas, glare at the hard, muscular back of an asshole, and I pick up my pillow, ready to throw it, but I bury my face in it and scream my frustration out. "You debate alpha males. They are so damn infuriating." Dragging my sorry self out, I run the 10 miles distance 3 times and surprisingly, I'm not fainting this time. After we go back, I quickly make Luke some breakfast and take it up. Might as well get my jobs over with as quick as I can. "Where are you going?" Luke asks as I turn towards my room. I almost reply, "Away from your damned presence." But I demonstrate extreme maturity and self-control. "To take a nap." I shrug. "Then I should inform you that there's a change of plans." Takes a moment to sip his coffee, get dressed. The nerve of this man. How can he tell me the change in my plans? And what does he mean by getting dressed? Why should I get dressed? Do as I said and I'll tell you the reason afterwards. You will have to tell me the reason right now. I cross my arms stubbornly. Luke lets his stormy gaze meet my steely one. The air around us fills with tension. "Come here." A powerful, demanding voice commands. My own legs betray me and start walking, but my tongue takes my side. "Why?" Luke picks up a paper from his desk, the same paper he was writing on last night. He holds it out for me. I take it with a raised eyebrow and let my eyes skim over the elegant writing. "Meeting with other participants of the hunt. Check preparations of the crescent moon ceremony. Reviewing the lastest reports of our pack funds. A letter to Alpha Hugo of the full moon pack." It went on and on about various tasks, and I look up at Luke in question. "What is this?" "This is a list of things I have to get done today," he says casually. "Why are you giving this to me?" I asked driftily. "Because you will be managing my time, reminding me respectfully when I need to attend to the next task and overall, making sure all of this is wrapped up in one day." His lips stug upwards in a smirk and he raises his coffee mug. Haughty blue eyes on me. Firstly, I can't believe he took that to be the first thing he smirks on. Secondly, I can't believe I find it handsome. Idly, I hate his stupid guts. "What's the matter?" "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm." He raises an eyebrow. "Are you afraid your limited potential as an Omega will be insufficient for my unpaid job?" I flash him a smile so sharp it could have been used to cut metal. "No. Think I'm very capable of handling it." "Then go ahead and get dressed. We have places to be, since I don't own any office clothes. A simple red sweater and dark jeans will have to do." I follow to the study room in the mansion, a notepad and pen in my pocket. When we come to a halt, the soon-to-be beta looks from Luke to yours truly and back to Luke. His eyes glaze over, and so do Luke's. I roll my eyes and shift my weight on one leg, mind linking to leave me out of the conversation. A moment later, Luke opens the door of the study room. which might as well be made a meeting room. Maybe it already is, considering the numerous men already there. None of the alphas or betas greet each other, other than a simple nod. Luke turns to me, wait here, but I want to know what this is about. It's about the Alpha Hunt's rules. Casper answers me. He knows me. It's really no use to you, but... Luke gives me a hard look. I narrow my eyes at him and turn my face away. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. As the meeting in there goes on and on, I pace the hallway, press my ear against the door to hear anything, fail miserably and start pacing again. A buzz from my phone tells me it's time to check the preparations. With a grin, I knock the door. No response. My grin falls. I knock again. No response whatsoever. I turn the knob and swing open the door. The room is dark and a projector is displaying one mesmerizing view of the crescent moon. As all of you know, the crescent moon is in a few days. That night the goddess will pair us up with our partners. I'd recognize that powerful voice anywhere, Luke. The goddess will pair them up. I move along the wall, trying to get his attention without disturbing anyone. Suddenly, the image of the moon blurs and a dark shape comes over it. Is that supposed to be an eclipse? A dozen heads turn my way and I feel the powerful gazes of the moon knows how many alphas on my little self. Luke's eyes find mine instantly. He raises an eyebrow. Oh, sorry. I quickly move away from the projector to continue. I think this meeting is at its end. Luke says, gentlemen, we will meet again on the crescent moon night. There are murmurs among the crowd. Heavy feet on the floor and a very pissed off alpha in my line of sight. Can this man ever be happy with me? I told you to wait outside. Luke hisses through his clenched jaw. Well, if you've forgotten, you had other things to do. I hiss back. And if you've forgotten, you have to remind me respectfully. He narrows his eyes. Fine. You have other things to do too. Sir? What a pleasant surprise. A familiar male voice reaches my ears. I turn to face Alpha Ethan. He smiles at me. His blue eyes crinkle. Unlike Luke's stormy and powerful ones, they're calm, clear and polite. Alpha Ethan. I remember to bow my head and then return his smile. Nice to see you again. Don't be so formal. He tone welcoming. You can just call me Ethan. My eyes widen. Your name. But I can't just. It would be no problem. The Alpha title makes me feel older than I am. He grins at me. Well, if that's the case then, we will see you later. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Luke's hand closes around my arm like a vice. We have other things to attend to. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He nods at Luke, then gives me another smile. Look forward to meeting you again. Luke starts walking, more for the sake of annoying him than for anything else. I look over my shoulder and grin at Ethan. See you soon, I say. Ethan